The day before an exam. It could be the most stressful experience ever, or it could be dead easy, but it all comes down to how you prepare. And let me tell you, I was not the kind of guy who would study for weeks before a test. I would find whatever excuse I could not to touch those books. There was this one set of exams I had back in high school, and the teachers told me it would be happening 1 month in advance. So thinking I'd be fine, I told myself I'll just revise 1 week before they start. And when it got to that day, I could not be asked to do anything. After that, 4 days went by with no revision. I was gonna be cooked for that exam. At this point, there were 3 days left, so I told myself, this is it. I'm just gonna lock in. I'm gonna study all day today and just get it done. How hard can it be? But my lazy 14-year-old self couldn't even go for 5 minutes without finding another excuse. It was so stupid. The excuse I made was that I didn't have enough books to study. So instead of using the ones I did have, I opened Amazon and ordered like 3 more. Okay, they're coming in 2 days, so that'll give me like 1 whole day to study, so I'm pretty much chilling. The books finally arrived and it was finally time to do some work, which I did for half an hour. Oh, I'm getting tired, bro. I need a break. I wasn't even that tired. I had only written like half a page and that was just copied from a textbook. I hadn't learned anything. And the worst part is I napped for so many hours after that when I woke up, there were like 4 hours until I had to sleep. Obviously, when I woke up, I was hungry, but instead of getting a quick snack, for some reason, I decided to make a 5-star Michelin meal. I didn't even know why people do this the night before an exam. I could have chosen any other day to do this, but for some reason, I chose the worst time possible. But to be fair though, that food was good. Probably the best food I've ever made. I don't know if it's just me though, but when I was younger, I could not eat dinner unless I had YouTube playing in the background. And because of that, I ended up watching videos 15 minutes after I was meant to go to sleep. It's fine. I'm just gonna sleep, wake up really early, then use that time to fully focus. No distractions, no YouTube, no cooking, just me and the books. You could probably guess, but I didn't even pick up a pen when I woke up. In fact, I woke up so late, I had to go straight to school. And when I opened that first page of the exam paper, I knew I was cooked. But not everyone would procrastinate as much as me. A few people I knew would be the complete opposite. And when I say that, I mean they would study for months before they even knew about the exam. Yeah, they'd get good grades and their parents would be really happy, but they'd sacrifice their whole social life. The only life they did have was studying. I feel kind of bad for some of these people though, because sometimes it wouldn't even be their choice. If they didn't pass those exams, they'd get absolutely destroyed by their parents. There was this one boy I knew who was just like that, and for the sake of this video, I'll just call him Jake. He spent every hour he was awake studying for this one set of exams. He was the kind of guy who everyone would ask for answers from in class. He couldn't even go 5 minutes without someone questioning him. He was practically a classroom celebrity. Anyway, after these exams, everybody just knew he was gonna have the best grades in the year. And when it got to results day, everyone was crowded around this dude just waiting to see what he got. And as expected, when he opened the envelope, he had all A stars and 1 A. Anyone would be happy with that. People were hyping him up, congratulating him, and just being really positive overall. But for some reason, Jake was not having it. I was so confused about why he was upset. He got the best grades in the entire class. But a few hours later, I asked him what happened, and he told me it was because of that 1 A he got. Remember earlier I said some kids would get beat by their parents if they didn't do well in their exams? Well, this guy was a prime example. I don't even want to know what they did to him when he got home that day. But if he was getting that upset over getting an A, I know his parents were evil or something. Something that confused me a lot though is that some people would get crazy results even though they'd barely study. I was so jealous of them, and what makes it worse is that one of my close friends from high school was just like this. No one really believed that he didn't revise, but I knew he wasn't lying. Let's say it was a week before an exam. Everyone in the VC would be grinding and barely talking, but the whole time he'd be sending us YouTube videos, TikToks, and all sorts. I remember this one time we had a history exam coming up, and it was supposed to be one of the hardest ones of the year. Everyone I knew was stressing out. Like, they were pulling all-nighters, chugging energy drinks, and just overall trying really hard. But Mike, he didn't want to do any of that. He was playing video games until 2 a.m. and even in the actual exam, it didn't seem like he was stressing at all. Then a week later when we got our results back, he had the highest score in the class. I'm talking higher than the guy I mentioned earlier who studied for months before. The teachers would even ask him to stay behind class sometimes, thinking he had cheated somehow. Come to think of it now, if he was that smart without even studying, he could have probably got into the best university in the world if he just put a bit of effort in. The thing with Mike though is that people like him are really rare. It's not every day you come across someone who's that smart without needing to study. Which brings me to the next type of student, which is the one who's overly confident but gets terrible grades. Also, if you're already this far in the video, you might as well subscribe. This is my second video ever and these take a ton of time to make. Anyway, these students were something else. They walk into every exam with so much confidence even though they haven't opened a single textbook. There were a ton of people that were like this, but there's one in particular that was way worse than the others. I'll just call him Zane for now. The thing about him is that he wouldn't even procrastinate. He'd be so confident in himself he wouldn't even consider studying. There was this one set of exams in high school and before it even started, he was sending out invites on WhatsApp for a post-exam celebration as if he'd already aced the exams. The amount of delusion this guy had was crazy too. He'd claim the reason he didn't need to study was because of his photographic memory. Last time I checked, photographic memory doesn't work if you've never actually actually looked at the material. When it got to exam day, Zane strolls in like he owns the place, but the moment he flips over the first page, I see his face drop so fast. But after the exam, he wouldn't even let people know he struggled. He just acted like he aced it, telling everyone how easy it was and how he probably got full marks. Meanwhile, I'm standing there knowing how stressed he actually was. And even on results day, when he basically failed everything, he just said the teacher must have marked it wrong. But on the complete other side of the spectrum, we have the cheaters. These were probably the worst kind of people before an exam, and they would use whatever method they could to pass. Some would even spend hundreds of pounds on devices just to cheat. There were a lot of people that would buy this stuff, but these are some of the craziest ones that I remember. The first one is the special pen, and what people would do is they'd print out the answers really small, then wrap it around it. From a distance, it just looked like a normal pen, but when you go really close to it, you can see all the answers. This wasn't that bad though, because it was only like £25 and you could only fit a certain amount of writing on it. I'm not condoning cheating in exams or anything, but this isn't even close to the other ones, because the next one was really expensive. It looks like a normal scientific calculator, but it has a ton of custom features. Look, this one has images, voice recording, music, and even a radio. I don't know what you need that one for though. But people would actually be spending money on these. This one's almost £100. People would barely get caught with this one though because of how discreet it was, but the craziest one was even better. What some people would do is they'd buy this tiny earpiece and go on a call with someone else outside of the exam and get them to tell them the answers. There was literally no way for a teacher to be able to find this because it's so small and it goes so deep into your ear, it's basically impossible to see. Again though, I wouldn't recommend cheating in any exams because even if you don't get caught, you're not really doing yourself a favor. Anyway, here's a video about different types of hustlers in school. Go watch it.